I'm really excited for this edition of the Daily Racing Form Weekend Preview. We've got David Aragona in this week. And David, this is one of those weeks as horse racing fans, as gamblers, we really love. Three massive Kentucky Derby prep races all across the country. I think we have a total of 17 stakes races between Santa Anita, Gulfstream, and Aqueduct. We're going to preview each of the three Kentucky Derby points races on this show. I'm really excited, and I know you as a horse racing fan are probably pumped for a big weekend like this.
Yeah, in recent weeks, we haven't had too many results that have really moved the needle in the Kentucky Derby conversation, but it feels like that's going to change this Saturday with the Fountain of Youth, the San Felipe, and the Gotham being run across the country.
So that'll be the schedule of events on this show. We'll take a look at the Derby watch standings, and David can talk about that in a moment. And we're also going to bring in our first guest, Pete Rotundo from First Racing. He's the SVP of Racing and Wagering. He's going to help us dive into a huge day at Gulfstream Park, talk about what's happening over at Santa Anita as well. But David, just a quick thought at the list here. This is something that you put together each and every week with another member of the Daily Racing Forum, Brad Free. So if anyone wants help kind of following along, this is what you'll see each and every week. You want to give us a quick thought on the recent Derby watch?
Yeah, we track the top 20 Kentucky Derby contenders. I set prices on each of them each week, updating it every Wednesday. Brad and I recap the preps on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel with new episodes every Wednesday. As you can see, Bob Baffert's got the top two on the list. He's always a center in the Kentucky Derby conversation. Citizen Bull and Barnes, who we're going to see this weekend.
Let's head on out to Gulfstream Park. Let's talk some Fountain of Youth with Pete. So, Pete, good friend of the show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us again. You're one of the head honchos over there at First Racing and First Bet. What a huge weekend you guys have. Give us a quick plug, some of the big things happening at Gulfstream and at Santa Anita before we get into this race.
Yeah, well, thanks, Gino. We have 14 stakes races between the two tracks on Saturday. 9 stakes at Gulfstream. The last 7 in a row will be stakes races. The whole late pick 5, late pick 4, the pick 6 will all have all stakes. So it's gonna be a very exciting weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if you're someone who likes to play like multi-race wagers, they have an awesome pick 5 that's called the Coast to Coast pick 5. It connects Santa Anita and Gulfstream. There's no computer wagering there, so it makes a lot of sense for some of the smaller bettors. You really have a shot. Free Daily Racing Form past performances, low takeout, everything the bettors want. And I think we're coming off like the highest pool it's ever had last week, maybe even higher this week, huh, Pete?
Yeah, I think it'll be over 300,000 this week. It's the payouts have been great, and the parlay figure on this bet is double, sometimes up to 6-7 times what it should pay if you just parlayed all the wins together. So again, for the sports bettors out there, it's good value.
I hit one of these a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to go see Aladdin on Broadway because of it. So I was very happy about that, Pete. Let's dive on in to the Fountain of Youth, horse by horse. Let's start with the one, Pete. I know you like this horse a little bit, right? Gate to Wire, who won the Swale last time out. That was his first start on the dirt. He was super impressive.
Yeah, he's my top pick. I was at Gulfstream for the race, and Todd Pletcher had mentioned before the race to the reporters for NBC, they weren't even going to run him. They needed somewhere to run. They tried to get into an allowance race. It didn't fill. They put him in there, and they thought, yeah, we'll just get a piece. And then horse won for fun. He looks like he's a big strapping horse. He's bred for the distance. He's got some dirt. No, he ran on the dirt. The mom was a grass horse, but liked to go long. Third race off a layoff. I almost like that the horse ran on grass as early in its career. It got some good bottom, and he's just inside post. Should sit a perfect trip, and I think you're gonna get 6-1.
Yeah, Gate to Wire. Last time when he won, we were hoping for him to win, not Gate to Wire, which is exactly what happened. He set off the pace. He got a great trip. David, what are your thoughts on the Swale winner?
He's a horse that really improved on the dirt last time. Got to see if he can do it over a longer distance on Saturday and maybe with a different trip, because he didn't have to face any horses kicking that dirt back in his face last time, kind of sitting out in the clear. Could be different with him breaking from post position number 1 this time.
David, let's stick with you and talk about the number 2, Sovereignty, who is coming off a bit of a layoff. He hasn't raced since October of 2024, but when we last saw him, he was a big winner of the Street Sense. It just has been a little while for him. I'm concerned that he might be a little short in this race, but he certainly has a lot of talent. What do you think about Sovereignty?
Yeah, in my opinion, his Street Sense victory was the most visually impressive performance that we saw from any of these horses that are pointing towards the Kentucky Derby. The problem is we haven't seen him since October. Coming off the layoff, feels like he might be a little bit behind the eight ball compared to some of these other horses starting their campaigns. So I think he's going to come running late in this race. I just wonder if he's going to be fully cranked up to deliver a victory.
Pete, couple major players in Sovereignty and Burnham Square. You have them more as underneath horses in here, probably horses that are going to be pretty heavily bet in this race.
Yeah, Sovereignty, I think, again, David hit exactly the right points there. I think he's coming off a layoff, so how cranked up is he going to be? I think could be an issue.
Maybe you
But
play him next time, right? Second start
exactly,
back.
exactly. And I'm going against Burnham Square. Listen, again, I was there on Holy Bull Day. The field kind of fell apart. There was a Guns Loaded was a speed horse. He wound up last. Ferocious wasn't ready for the race. Didn't run that well. He beat a horse who just broke its maiden last time. Could be a little bit of a phony race, I think. And he's going to be bet. And we don't want chalk.
Pete looking for some value here. David, what are your thoughts on Burnham Square?
I think Burnham Square has passed every test so far, and he's got to step up against a slightly tougher field this Saturday, but I really like the way that he won the Holy Bull. He's proven over the distance and the track. I think he's going to be awfully tough to beat in this race.
David, let's stick with you for McKellen, the number 4. He's coming off a disappointing effort in the Mucho Macho, man. He just didn't really fire that day. Can you give him a shot back in here?
He could be one of the horses that's forcing the pace early, potentially mixing it up on the front end, but I think there are better quality speeds in the race, and he just feels like he's facing a tough assignment against better horses.
Any thoughts on one of the longer shots in the field, Pete?
Yeah, I'm again right there with Dave. I don't think I think they're taking a shot. Home team, Jose D'Angelo, why not? You're in the Fountain of Youth. Let's go.
So we're going to scratch the 5 solid left who was entered in this race, but he actually raced on Thursday earlier in the week, so he won't be running in this one. But Pete, we can go back to you for River Thames, who has been very good for Todd Pletcher. He's 2 for 2. He hasn't even really been tested yet, so this is going to be a tougher field than what he's faced, but he looks the part of a nice horse. He has a good running style where he can sit close. I don't have a whole lot of knocks on him, just maybe the price.
Exactly. And he's run twice. He's had 2 blowout victories. We've seen this movie with Todd Pletcher at Gulfstream in these 3-row preps where they just keep winning and win for fun, and then next thing you know, they wind up in the Kentucky Derby. I'm using him. Again, he's going to have to prove it. These are real horses he's running against. A little better field than he's faced, and we'll see if he can get the trip.
And David, as we move to you, we can point out that anyone that's watching this can see the projector, the Timeform US pace projector. They're expecting River Thames and Neo Equus, the 6 and the 7, to be forwardly placed in here, David. So just kind of looking at the projector and then give us some thoughts about River Thames. Is that how you see this race unfolding? A good amount of speed, going honest early? And then what do you think about the 6?
Yeah, it does feel like the number 6 and 7 are the 2 speeds in this race. They've both been forward in shorter races, so stretching out to this route distance, it feels like they will be controlling the pace here, and we'll see how much they push each other on the front end. River Thames, just looking at the speed that these horses have run, he's run faster than Burnham Square, but he's got to prove it against tougher competition here, and he feels like he's going to take a lot of money in this race.
David, while we're with you, we'll round out the field with the 7 Neo Equus, who I could see showing some speed in here. Kind of a little bit of a long shot, though. We'll have to get the acid test. I know you were a fan of the 8 Keep It Easy and that impressive win last out.
Yeah, Keep It Easy is a bit of a wild card coming into this race. He was pretty impressive when he earned a stakes victory at the end of last season at Churchill Downs. He's another one that's stretching out around the 2 turns for the first time, but he certainly got the breeding to do it.
And Pete, I think you were also of the outside too, leaning more towards the 8 horse who was coming off that nice win.
Yeah, and again, I think the price might be right compared to some of the others maybe coming off the layoff. Romans has cooled off just a touch. I mean, he was on fire early at Gulfstream. Still doing well, but maybe a little touch. Again, but he's working well and might sit a nice trip if they go a little fast early.
So as we say goodbye and a big thank you to Pete for joining us, we can flash the selections for this race. We can show you how each one of us have stacked them up. Pete's going to go with the 1-8-6-2. David puts the 3 on top, 3-8-6-2. And I'm going to roll with the 6, River Thames, 6-3-1-7. We take a quick commercial break, and then we'll head on out to Aqueduct and talk about the Gotham.